so much for joining us for another book review with
Zen Garcia.
and Joy Garcia. As always, we're here to cover one book and just kind of give you guys a discount on it and give you an overview and talk about it a little bit. Last week, Zen did a show about this particular book and it was really well received, and we saw that there was a lot of interest, so we wanted to help you guys out and give you a discount on this book this month, but also tell you a little bit more about it. It is the Primary Adamic Literature. So, Zen, would you like to tell us a little bit about it?
The Primary Adamic Literature is basically the compilation of all the different cultures of the world that have in their historical narrative and their esoteric wisdom texts stories about the life of Adam and Eve and what they underwent in transition, being exiled from paradise, banished to the earth, and losing their bright nature, coming under mortal form, the transmutation that they underwent. And a lot of people that study just the King James Version of the Bible have no idea that paradise is in the third heaven, as is alluded to by Paul, Enoch, Peter, so many of the prophets. Paul, even in the 2 Corinthians, speaks about being taken up and seeing a vision of paradise in the third heaven. And the third heaven is located above the vaulted dome of the earth. It's where New Jerusalem currently resides, and where the prophets, the patriarchs, and the righteous are living since the resurrection of Christ, when he took Adam and his descendants, even to the thief that was on the cross with him, and baptized them in the Arturian lake. They were allowed to enter into New Jerusalem and are currently there. And they will be the 10,000 saints that return with them at the end of days. But this book speaks about and covers their former estate and what that transition was like, and how difficult it was for them in being exiled from paradise, banished here to the earth, where already the fallen angels, the Lucifer and Legion, had been cast out of the heavens on the second day of creation. And we see allusion to this. Christ said, "I saw Satan like lightning fall from the heavens." And so they found themselves surrounded by Legion and these demonic entities, and were now under the authority of death and learning from the experience of good and evil. And so, as I had mentioned, this particular text has the life of Adam and Eve from the Egyptian, the Syrian, the Ethiopic, the Armenian and Georgian, all these different cultures that have in preservation the stories of Adam and Eve. And so they're all compiled here. And we also have published for the first time the first and the last chapter of the Thracian book of Atum and Ua, which is, I believe, to be the oldest account. And it dates back to 5500 BC. The Thracian culture itself is dated by historians to 7000 BC. And so they were, predated the Sumerian culture by 1500 to 2000 years. Their language is what became the ancient hieroglyphic system, and they were Christians. And the knowledge of the texts that are preserved by them show that it was known that Christ would be born of a virgin, and that he is alluded to as the Lamb that would take away the sins of the world. And he was part of the pre-existent Godhead, of which they, in similarity as what we've been teaching for a very long time now, they revered a triune Godhead, which included a feminine aspect of the Holy Spirit. And so that is preserved in the first chapter, which, like John chapter 1, shows that everything was made by wisdom and the Word. And these things are excluded from the other accounts. And then we have in the very last chapter of the Thracian Chronicles another secret which has been long lost and hidden, and that has to do with that there are two bloodlines here upon the earth, and that there's a little physical progeny of the devil which is warring against us. And that's why we see in Genesis 3:15 the mention of there being enmity between the seed of the woman and the seed of the serpent, and that this played out with the birth of Cain and Abel, Cain murdering Abel, and then Adam's bloodline being propagated through Seth, whose name means replacement, substitution, compensation. And so all these stories are found within this manuscript, and I think it will greatly bless you to understand that what it talks about in Revelation, remember from whence thou art fallen, that paradise, our home, our original former estate, is in the heavens, and that we are not from here. We're just visitors here. We're guests to this realm, and that when we return, actually New Jerusalem will come down to earth for the millennial reign, and we will, God willing, be numbered amongst the elect and will reign with him for that 1,000-year period here upon the earth. And so these stories and all these prophecies are contained within this manuscript.
Awesome. Thank you, Zen, and thank you everyone for joining us. As always, with these book reviews for this particular month, the rest of February 2020, this book will be 25% off. We'll put the promo code in the description below. We'll also add the link to the video, the show that Zen did all about this book for 2 hours, right, last week?
Yes, I read through several verses and shared some highlights on how to really understand the fall of humanity, as well as how it connects with the return of Christ for first and second advent, because he did redeem us through him and extend salvation to all in dying on the cross, defeating death, being resurrected and ascending to the Father, the right hand of the Father. But he is coming again, and at that time the harvest will ensue. The wheat will be separated from the tares, the righteous from the wicked, the goat from the sheep. And so the fullness of the story, the promise of his coming and of his return, is connected to the fall of humanity. And so that's why it's important to understand.
Yes, so if you haven't listened to that show, please do in the link below this video, and we will see you guys next time. Thank you so much, and if you ever have questions, let us know. And also please know that the link to this book will also be added in the description below, and there you can actually see a preview of the book. So please enjoy and let us know if you have any questions. Shalom, bye.
Shalom. God bless all. Good night.